Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, 3-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Puckers New Jersey Devils podcast. Let's go Devils!
Well, 4 out of 5. So that's not too bad. Devils did put up a giant stinker against the Penguins on Saturday. We'll talk a little bit about that. And they just hung on for dear life last night in Columbus. We are the Uncle Puckers, Tim, Bobby, Chris, and we're going to discuss all that and more. But first, what's up, boys?
Hey, howdy ho.
Is everybody doing well?
This miracle light shining. Do you guys see that on your screen?
It's just coming on you.
Beam of light coming on me.
Beam of light.
Yeah, it kind of
very godly.
Kind of Saint Bobby of the Puckers.
Obviously, this is meant for somebody else, but I do like it. It's kind of nice.
It's definitely, it's going right through. Yeah, we've had that before.
I know.
You have that. It's probably just more noticeable because we're squares and circles.
And I don't move. I'm always in the same spot. So every now and then the light just shines upon me.
You see that?
Yeah.
Tell me, bright.
Tell me where you were on January 20th.
I'm doing it next to his son. January 20th? January 20th does, I'm not telling you shit. You can't prove anything. So.
Beat it, cop.
How's everybody doing? You guys have a good day today?
Yeah, the sun's shining. It's finally getting nice outside. It's perfect weather to sit inside and stay pasty and watch hockey. Told you guys before we started, I found a tick on myself today that was pretty well embedded in there. So just waiting to see what happens there. Every time I feel a little iffy, I'm just kind of like,
well, what kind of tick was it?
It wasn't a deer tick. Like deer ticks are very, very small. So it was a pretty meaty fucker.
Yeah, so, you don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah, it's just like crazy. So it's just another annoying thing of the old adventures of Tim on the farm.
Maybe we'll get a whole new look next week. Maybe your face.
Yeah, my face will be mangled.
Cool Rocky Dennis thing going on. I like that. Yeah, before we start, though, the Hockey Podcast Network and our sponsors, DraftKings, they want us every time to say a few words. So that's what we're going to start with right off the bat so we can get it out of the way and then just talk some shit. It's NHL season. It's been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge, and no one knows where it's going, but that just means there's time for your favorite team to figure things out. Unless your favorite team is the New York Rangers, then we don't want them to figure shit out, and we would much prefer them being home when Game 83 starts. So book your tee times now if you're New York Rangers and get that spot for a 9 a.m. tee off right around April 8th or 9th. But anyway, back to DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, place your first bet. That's it. And if you're new to DraftKings, new customers can bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus age and eligibility, varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, visit dkng.co/audio. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. NHL and NHL team marks are the property of the NHL and its teams. NHL 2025, all rights reserved. DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours. So, guys, do you guys want to start talking a little bit about, the Penguin game or last night's clenching finale of
we could touch on the Penguin game. I mean, since it was 2 games ago, they kind of redeemed themselves a little bit, but I think that was just an absolute fucking stinker, man. Like, I can't believe how badly they played. You can kind of tell from the drop they just like weren't weren't generating anything. They weren't getting anywhere. They got on the board first, which is kind of an interesting anomaly because usually when they're pretty bad, and they're pretty bad in first periods. But after that, the wheels just, like I said, in my recap, like I don't even think the wheels were on. Like they didn't even have the opportunity to fall off. They were never on. I don't know. Road game away, middle of the afternoon. We got apparently the 600,000 people watching on ABC, so we got embarrassed in front of 600,000 people. So not good. Not good, Bob.
No, not good. I didn't understand that game. It was another game that I had the fortune of not being able to watch, at least to a certain point. I wasn't there for the start of the game. Kind of saw what was going on with the game. Figured, oh, good, another one I can probably avoid. But I got sucked in just in time to see like the failed comeback. Saw the 2 quick goals. Started, pulling on the heartstrings a little bit. I'm like, they're going to pull this out after all. And alas, no. So when that kind of effort happens, sandwiched between some of the other efforts, I just don't get it. I don't know how to explain it anymore. And I don't know. It's probably more effort on the Devils' part than what the Penguins did.
I mean, Pittsburgh played well. I'm not going to take anything away from them, but we didn't make it very difficult for them. And this is why I have such reservations for how this team is going to do moving forward and into the playoffs. You don't see the Colorados, the Dallases, the Vegases, Florida, you do kind of see it with this year, but I'm saying the elite teams, the teams that are always in there, they're always good. They don't have efforts like that the amount of times that we do. And it does seem like every third or fourth game, they just forget how to fucking play hockey. And it's mind boggling. Exactly what you said. It's just like you sit there shaking your head. If they played the way they played against Edmonton, against Pittsburgh, they win that game. They play, the way they played the Columbus in the first game last week. They beat Pittsburgh. But instead, they went in there, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about this team and that 3 win in a row mark that they're just like, oh, shit, we won 3 in a row. We better stink up the joint tonight because we can't win 4 in a row. And that's not even why I'm upset about the whole thing, but it's just you're not going to go far when you have effort like that. And that's the thing that bothered me. And it was all around, too. That's the other thing. Like, it's not just where we get a couple of guys that maybe have bad games. Like, I feel like our bad games, it's every guy on the ice. So, I mean, this is what happens when you take Erik Haula out of the lineup. I mean, you can't do it.
The one thing that kind of annoyed me a little bit was Keefe was saying something akin to, we got to, really find out who we are with these inconsistent efforts. And it's like, isn't that kind of your job to identify what the problems are? And we could get into it after the CBJ game. Like, how they post his locker room speeches after games? Yeah. They're generally pretty good. I wasn't really a fan of his speech after the CBJ game. I was kind of like, I don't really like the way he went about.
You talking about the game last night or the first?
The game last night. I
didn't see the locker room speech.
Yeah, I don't know. Just kind of something struck me as a little off about it. And look, we're only getting a snippet of what he says in the locker room. God knows what else he says. I'm not going to make some broad sweeping, interpretation about it, but
you're a podcaster. Of course you will. That's what we do. Broad sweeping generalities and clickbait.
He's a bad coach. Send him back to Toronto.
The quick, just off the subject real quick, but like there are I now in my algorithm on my phone, like when I go onto my Google homepage and stuff, I get a bunch of Vikings, and it's mostly like Vikings and Devils and like a few wrestling things and some political shit that pops up. But like the last week or so, it's been bold headlines. I was like, Kirk Cousins traded to Cleveland. I'm like, oh shit, they traded him? And then I'm reading, this is what they should do. Like, motherfucker, I hate that. Yeah. Don't put that clickbait nonsense. Like I blocked all those stupid sites, but it's so frustrating. But
yeah, there's a bunch. There'll be like superstar thinking about being dealt in AI simulation, right. And you're like, what? Knock that shit off. That's way too
yeah, there are these, it's kind of prevalent in advertising, and this is something that I kind of bang my head against the wall in my former career. As these they're called MFA sites, are made for advertising, which are basically just low, cheap, or high volume, cheap inventory that help kind of push your kind of cost per efficiencies down. And they're just, they're the type of sites that, you cycle through like 8 pages and it stops loading and then it keeps going back up to the top and you're just getting, it basically gives your phone fucking HIV,
Right.
when with the amount of advertise on it. So and it's the same thing that Sports Illustrated just did when I don't know if they just did it, but they fired all the writers and just started writing shit with AI. It's pretty bad. I think that one Pucks and Pitchforks article that we went over about the trade targets when it was like Quinn Hughes for Jack's left wing. I was like, I wonder if someone wrote this with AI.
Somebody else just wrote one, I think, for that I just saw, and I can't remember what the article was, but I was like, "This is the dumbest freaking thing." It was a Devil article, but it was again I think Pucks and Pitchforks. It was just so stupid of an article, and I disagreed with almost everything, but I didn't give a shit enough about it to actually like save it so we can make fun of it on air. Probably should have done that. But okay, so go ahead, Bobby.
What people don't realize about the AI real quick is that, it's generating all its information from what's available on the internet. And we all know that everything available on the internet is 100% true.
Absolutely.
But AI doesn't know this. So it's just going out and grabbing what it thinks are sources, and it puts stuff together it could be absolutely wrong. It could be right as well. And depends on the depth of what you're asking it to do. But to take away writers and their ability, that's their skill. That's what they do. And especially in a journalist level, to replace it with AI, that's just ridiculous. Sports Illustrated should just fold.
Yeah. I think Aristotle warned us about this in one of his blogs.
Aristotle did? Thought it was Plato.
Yeah.
They had blogging back then.
Emma Miller.
I read it on the internet, Bob. You just said it's all true.
Son of a bitch.
Timo Meyer proves to be Mr. March for New Jersey Devils. Anyway, let's talk about last night.
Sure.
Well,
first one thing I want to, and I don't know if I'm going out of order, but Markstrom had a pretty rough game against Pittsburgh.
Big time.
That's 2 consecutive roughish games. Now it's interconnected. Like, the team in front of him wasn't exactly helping out a little bit. But what are your guys' opinions moving forward? Because Allen's obviously been dynamite, and we could talk about the goalie stuff after we go over the Columbus game, or we could talk about it now.
No, let's talk about it.
You're on it. Let's go.
Yeah. So I'm of the mind that we have a little bit of a buffer. It's not huge, but I think it's enough that we can actually, and it sucks that it is kind of a risk, but throw in Markstrom against Calgary, because that guy, he thrives on seeing pucks and getting work. And Calgary has literally the worst offense in the entire league. I think they barely scored like 100 goals 5-on-5. So I think it's worth giving him a shot against his former team at home, against the worst offense in the league, and then kind of fall into a rotation with Allen. Because I think Allen, the beauty of what Allen's been able to provide us is he's been able to step in wherever we needed him to. And whether that's 2 weeks, back-to-back games, a game spot start here or there, coming in to relieve Markstrom when Markstrom went down. Like, he's just been such a trooper for us. I really appreciate it. So that's kind of what I think, but I am a little bit concerned about Markstrom coming back from this injury.
You want to go first?
Sure. First of all, I agree that he should get the Calgary game. Just give him a shot. But at this point, he's not himself. He's not where he should be. And to me, the better goalie deserves to play. And for now, I think that's Allen until Markstrom gets in there and proves he's ready. And then if he gets a big win, maybe he gets the next game. We got a little bit of a bunched up schedule next week with a back-to-back in there. So they're both going to get time. But right now, my confidence is in Jake Allen, and we need to win. So I would say you play, Markstrom where you can, a game like Calgary. You give Ottawa back to Allen. Then you got Vancouver coming up, a little bit of a decision there because you got Chicago after that. So I have no problem riding the hot hand. I know the ultimate goal would be to have – thanks for screwing up my speech, Chris. The ultimate goal would be to have the Markstrom we had going into the playoffs. So I know we want to kind of get riding on him to hopefully get back to that person, right? But what if that doesn't happen? Well, and you're wasting time trying to do it. I'm just good. I'm good with the hot goalie.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the way the season started, too, Allen was the better goalie in the beginning, and then Markstrom kind of found his game and found his legs, and he became, I mean, if he didn't get injured and he stayed at that pace, he would be in talks right now for the Vezina. I mean, he's not going to win it; it's Hollowbuck's trophy, but he
Right.
could have been a finalist. But again, everybody, not saying you guys are, but Devil Sphere is, play Allen the same way they were back in October. And, Markstrom found his game. I think that's going to happen again. I think you got to get Markstrom the starts. He's just coming back from the injury. He'll find it. We went and got Markstrom for the playoffs. So I really hope he is ready for the playoffs. Now, there's also the underlying, not that it matters to us at all, but definitely matters to management, is the amount of starts that Allen gets. And I don't know what the number is. I think it's 30, because that changes the Montreal getting a second round pick this year.
That's over. That's over now. There's no way
get it.
He can't get it now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he can't get it. So that doesn't matter anymore. All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I said to you guys last night, I have confidence in both these guys. And the thing I like about Allen is exactly what you had touched on already. It doesn't matter the situation. The man's always ready, and he always comes in and plays above average, sometimes like last night, phenomenally. Doesn't matter if it's a back-to-back. It doesn't matter if it's 2 weeks off and he's getting a spot start. He's going to play great. Markstrom hasn't gotten there. But when Markstrom is at his best and when Allen is at his best, Markstrom's a better goalie. So sure. I want to see Markstrom in that spot. So I think you got to get Markstrom some starts. And like you said, put him in against Calgary. Calgary is not a good road team. They don't score a ton of goals, but they play a type of style that gives us fits. They're, liking them to the Philadelphia Flyers in the way that they, block a ton of shots. They're constantly in your face. Nate Bastian gets his mug busted up every time, that kind of shit, right? Like, it does is there a receipt for Lomberg on this game? I kind of hope there is, but we'll see. Put him in against his old team. Was he injured when we played, or he didn't get the start in Calgary? We got shut out by them. I think that was Allen in net.
I think it was Markstrom. I think it was Markstrom's return to Calgary.
Was it? Okay.
I'm pretty certain, yeah.
But I would definitely play him. And then, like you said, depending on how Thursday night goes, I mean, if Markstrom plays good, you get a shutout, lets in 1 goal, something like that. Maybe you give him the start against a really hot Ottawa team that right now is just kind of taking names and going through the fucking league like butter. Can we beat them? I don't know. That's going to be a tough. The next 3 games are tough games for the Devils. I like I said, not that we're not a better team than Calgary, but they play a style that gives us fits. And how are we going to play? Ottawa is Ottawa, man. They're playing some great hockey. One of the hottest teams in the East right now. That's going to be a tough game. Apparently, Travis Green knows what he's doing and can coach.
I know. Who knew?
Yeah, exactly.
Not us.
Definitely not Tom Fitzgerald.
It took him a little while to get around. This addition of Cousins has really helped out. Kind of still a little miffed about that, but
they're poised for a run, and then we got Vancouver, and again, you're talking about a hot Ottawa team sandwiched in the middle of 2 Western Conference teams that are fighting for their playoff lives. So each game is going to be tough. As far as the goaltenders, no matter who is starting, I'm totally comfortable with either guy because I like both our guys. Our goaltending has not been a source of any kind of anxiety for me at all this year. So, but you have to get Markstrom to that playoff form, and you got about 15, 16 games to do it. So however they decide to divvy it up, I'm fine with, as long as it leads to, because I don't know if we're going to get very far with Allen to ride him through a playoff. I don't know if that's his best use.
And let me be clear, I wasn't suggesting that if the playoffs started tomorrow, I wouldn't go to Markstrom by default. I think, to me, I still believe in that kind of flip the switch mentality.
Okay, so just to answer your own question, if the playoffs started tomorrow, who do you put in net? Everything being as it is right now.
Now you just put the gun to my head because I had the benefit of time and giving him some games to get there. I don't anymore. I wouldn't have a problem with starting Allen in game 1, depending on the matchup.
Wow. Okay. How about you, Tim?
Right now.
right
But that's
now.
not what the case is going to be by the end of the year.
No, but I'm curious.
Right now, I'm starting Jake Allen.
I start Markstrom.
I mean,
I start Markstrom.
Allen's been the best goalie in the league for the past 20 starts. Every goalie in the league, their past 20 starts, Jake Allen has been the best goalie by goals saved above expected. Like better than Hellebuck, better than Logan Thompson, better than every other goalie. There's no games played qualifier on that. It's over the last 20 games.
It's not
and
even
we've seen
unusual
it.
for some teams. They've literally gone with, goalie B for the first round because of the matchup against that particular team before their other guy got back in. I mean, that kind of stuff happens. I'm not even suggesting that would be the case. I agree with Tim. Right now, it's tomorrow, the way Allen's playing, I would give him the start. But the point I was trying to make further was that I don't care how they dice it up now, left, right, 1-2. At a certain point, Markstrom's going to get his work. We're going to know where he is. You come into the weekend coming up next week, both goalies are getting one of the Jets and Minnesota. Either way you slice it. And those are big challenges right there because it's a back-to-back between the Jets and Minnesota, one before we have a day off. So even if you are, quote unquote, giving Markstrom kind of the easier games here, right, just to kind of get him going again, so you give him Calgary, maybe give him Chicago, then you're running into Jets, Minnesota. So it's going to be, all right, put up or shut up at that point anyway. And I do believe we have enough games left to get Markstrom back to form because ultimately, if we are going into the playoffs, strength to strength, we want it to be Markstrom at the top of this game going in.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree. Well, I mean, so then we go to last night's game, and I mean, Columbus is fighting it right now, but holy shit. I mean, this was the classic goaltender stole you a fucking win because we had no business coming out of that game with 2 points. Not the way we played that third period. I have a question for you guys, and I it's not really a question. It's just something I notice a lot, and I noticed it last night too. And it still strikes me as just strange sometimes. And I understand that, it's about a system, and it's about, but anyway, so like you go to the third period and Columbus is owning the ozone time, right? They are just spending the entire period in our end, giving us fits. We can't get the puck out. And then we take a penalty. And now we're on a penalty kill. We're down a man. And then for 2 minutes, Columbus can't get into the zone. They can't get any kind of offensive zone. I'm like, they did it for 10, 12 minutes. Now we're short a guy and they can't do it. So what is going on here? It always happens like that, and I can't figure it out.
We see that shit on our side too. On offense, we'll be owning the game, totally driving all the play, front foot the whole way, in the zone, possession like crazy. Then we get a power play, and we don't get in the zone.
It's
seen
so
that too.
weird.
It is.
That's hockey.
Odd.
That's hockey, baby.
Yeah, that's
so
hockey, baby.
Fucking strange to me.
It's there's so much pressure on the power play on the zone entry, right? There's a lot of pressure on it, and right now we kind of suck at that on our power play, and they were struggling with it too. You make a good read at the blue line, and it can go back right the other way. You also have the luxury of being able to ice the puck too.
That's true.
When you're killing a penalty, so. I don't know. It's a great question. I have no fucking idea, but they were all over us in that third. Now, the thing is and I kind of framed this up in my recap is like the Devils were 3 totally different teams in each of those periods, and kind of goes to the inconsistency, but to see that level of inconsistency across one game, like I don't think Columbus made any real adjustments or anything like that, or I don't know what happened. I don't know if just kind of beat our guys down because Nemec wasn't playing. We were running out 5D for the most part. The fourth line had a very inconsistent game. That Mercer line, aside from that the sequence at the end where they pinned it down in the zone, they had an awful game. So we're kind of have Nico was getting hard line matched against Fantilli and the Russians. So like it's just I don't know. It was just wildly inconsistent. And the first period was so fucking frustrating, man. Like the amount of opportunities that they just missed flat out, missed the net. Like I could not believe it. And I actually looked up on Money Puck because they track this. So the Devils are actually now 3rd in the league in getting their shots blocked. So they basically had the 3rd highest percentage of getting their shots blocked. It's over 30%. So 30% of the shot attempts get blocked. then they're 10th worst, basically, in missing the net on shots. So I was actually surprised by that.
What do you attribute the shot blocking to? I mean, what can the team do different? Are they not recognizing when they can wait one more second and make the defender move first? Or what is that?
Dude, I don't know, man. It's like, I don't know if they're just, maybe it's impatience. Maybe it's just we have bad shooters that can't find lanes. Man, I'm already frozen like 5 minutes into this. What the fuck?
25. We went pretty long.
Oh, there we go. Hey, all right.
Him never goes 25 minutes.
I never make it this far. We're on our third show already. I don't know, man. It's just the amount of times we just fire the puck right into shin guards. I don't know if we're just taking too many low danger shots that like are trying to be seeing eye shots through traffic. If we're trying to create traffic in front, and then that creates us hitting people or getting shots blocked. I don't know.
It's just very hard to comprehend, because it's one thing if we were a shot blocking team, you understand that that's something we're doing. To be third in the league in shots that are blocked, you're playing every team. So I'm starting to think that turns to the offense needing to make an adjustment. Yeah, not all 30 teams just figured out, hey, we all know how to shot block the Devils.
And it's not like we're first in shot attempts by a wide margin. We're not. We're like 10th in shot attempts. So it's not like, we're just shooting so much that a large portion of them are just getting blocked. That's kind of Carolina's up there in the number of shots blocked too, but that's their MO. They're just shot spammers. So I don't know. It's weird. I keep going back to this thing, when we were talking about our scoring issues and our depth scoring issues, like we just have like maybe like a collection of just like oddly bad shooters. I don't know. It's really weird.
I'll tell you, and I'm sure we're going to get to it with the kind of fortuitous bounce for Jesper Bratt, and I know he earned his position. I saw that in your thing too. But anybody else thought right away when that shot went off that he was missing the net? Like, no offense to him, this is like what happens to the Devils. I'm like, I didn't even see it go in. I was like, this isn't going in. It was a tough angle too. It wasn't like a tap in. It was, a decent angle. But I got nervous.
That would have been the thing that happens to us, is just like he misses that shot.
We're
season
ping.
In this game.
Goddamn ping.
Yeah, that again. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of the loudest posts I've ever heard when he ripped that off the post.
Even Mercer, last night had a couple really good looks and missed the net. There were a few guys, Cotter, Palat, there was a few guys that just, in the first period alone, you're taking away 3 to 4 really quality high danger scoring chances because you didn't even get it on net.
Yeah, it's just, it's trying to be too fine and hitting the corners, but sometimes, like there's a thing in hockey called a pass off pad, right? Which basically, you shoot for the rebound. Like it's okay to generate rebounds. Like you put it right in the guy's chest, like he's going to swallow that up. Like you don't want to do that, or you're trying to be too fine and pick the corners. Just
especially when you have a guy who hasn't played much like we did last night. I feel like the 2 goals that went in, were just, one was just hardworking. Timo Myers not going to be denied, and nobody's moving him off that puck, and he finishes. The other one was the goaltender misplaying it, like you said, and Bratt. Other than that, like he didn't have to do Jake Allen type shit last night. And we kind of made it a little easy for him. And we were lucky enough that Allen was there.
He made one pretty good save, and I forget who it was on. But other than that, like we're not, we talked about this before, the sort of when people were saying we got goalied, like, we didn't. Like we're kind of just making it easy on the goalies. We're not.
Well, the only game I'll say that we definitely got goalied in was the last Columbus game.
Yes.
Not the one we won at home. The last one in Columbus that Mercer got the shutout. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be right back. I'm going to refresh.
Yeah. And actually, so while he's gone, Bob, I'm going to just, does this change your opinion on the goaltending situation? I have the numbers career-wise for both guys against our next 3 opponents. So I'm just going to read them off, and you tell me if it. Tim, real quick, I was just saying to Bobby, I have the numbers for both our goaltenders' careers versus the next 3 opponents that we play. Do these numbers change your opinion on anything or not? So the next game is Calgary. Jake Allen is 11-6-1 career against Calgary. He has a 2.51 goals against and a 9.18 save percentage. Jacob Markstrom career versus Calgary is 5 wins, 10 losses. 334 goals against, and an 896 save percentage. So his numbers are not good against his former team. And then we go Ottawa. Jacob Allen is 7-6-2 with a 288 goals against and a 905 save percentage. And Jacob Markstrom is 6-7-3 with a 249 goals against and a 911 save percentage. So both guys have pretty decent numbers. Even though Markstrom's numbers are better, he has a losing record at 6-7-3. So I don't know if that matters to you guys. And then Vancouver, Jake Allen is 9-7-3 with a 273 goals against and a 900 save percentage. Markstrom is 12-6-2 with a 2.4 goals against and a 913 save percentage. So does his 5-10-0 with a 334 goals against average and an 896 save percentage, does that make you change your mind at all, or at least think a little bit more about putting Allen in against Calgary?
No, not for me. I think their career numbers against those teams, particularly because Markstrom played for Calgary for so long, I imagine the bulk of those are when he was on Vancouver and maybe a little bit of Florida. And I don't think Vancouver was very good when he was on some of those teams. So there's some team context there, but I don't know, unless he doesn't like the logo or the colors are too bright for him.
The logo is awesome. I'll say it's second best logo in all of sports, but at least in hockey.
But no, I still think in our current situation, our current context, give Markstrom the game against Calgary, then you go Allen, then you kind of decide from there.
Optically, the only one that really gives you pause is Markstrom against Calgary. But for everything we discussed and what Tim just said too, I just think that's the game. Season to season, it's a different situation. Poor road team, not very good right now. I think that's definitely the game that you want to give Markstrom. And if anything, this kind of helps me line up where I thought we were going to go anyway, where you go Markstrom next, give Allen the start against Ottawa, and then you're back to Markstrom in Vancouver, which at home against Vancouver, and he has really good numbers against them. So kind of lines everything up for me.
There you go. Bobby's right, as always.
Oh, you got to get Markstrom in there. You got to get him feeling good. And we all know what a competitor he is. He doesn't like to lose. That Pittsburgh game, not only did that Pittsburgh game probably piss him off, but not getting the start last night probably pissed him off even more, which is great because now you got your former team coming in. We need 2 points. Go out there and win the game. And we'll see. I agree. Those numbers wouldn't bother me at all. Like, I wouldn't even question that. Like, to me, he's 5-10-0. Who gives a shit? Put him in.
And athletes have memories too, man. Even the fact that his homecoming to Calgary didn't go anywhere near as planned, right? I know I'd remember that and be like, I am kicking their ass at the Rock next time. You know what I mean?
Right.
You asked an interesting question before. I wonder, and I almost think that Lomberg's too small. Like, I don't think they put McDermott in the lineup for that. It's because Lomberg's too fucking small. Like, if it was if it was a bigger dude.
Who do we sick after Lomberg then?
I don't know. It's like,
I got a guy.
You got a guy?
Yeah. I know we're not fans of him.
Kovacevic,
no, because you're saying he's small, Lomberg. So let's have a middleweight fight.
So here's
Eric Holla to drop the fucking clothes with Lomberg.
That's what I was going to say is Holla.
Yeah.
And my issue with one of Dylan or Kovacevic taking it is they're probably our two best defensive defensemen right now.
Right.
With Luke and Pesci, obviously. And put one of those guys, particularly Kovacevic on the right side in the box for 5 minutes really kind of hurts us. I don't know what the fuck we're going to do with Nemec, man. Like, he just doesn't have it right now. And it's getting increasingly worrisome. I still believe in him. He didn't forget how to play hockey, but he just absolutely looks like an absolute shell of himself. He didn't get a shift after like 10 minutes in the third.
I'm glad you brought him up because I don't like him. I mean, you guys know this. I don't hide it. I'm not a fan. You're 100% right. He hasn't forgotten how to play hockey. This is what bothers me. It apparently is between his fucking ears. And that is a problem because it's the guy, like we've talked about it a million times. I know every Devil fan kind of has, right? You made a point to tell management that you fucking deserve to be here. right? I'm not going to say he asked for a trade. He did this. No, he just let Fitz and Keeper know, I deserve that shot. I can do the job. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. Are you, though? Are you really? Because he's not very good. And I don't know what it is going on between his ears, but like, everybody else on that defensive core plays the system, and he kind of does whatever the hell he wants out there. It's mind-boggling to me. It's just, and I get why he was seated, the rest of the time. And maybe Seamus Casey doesn't give you that defensive first kind of mentality, but Seamus Casey's very coachable. He brings a lot to the game when he's on the ice. At this point, with 15, 16 games left until Siegenthaler comes back, why is Nemec the guy? I don't want him to be. I'd rather it be Casey. But Bob, what do you think?
Well, first off, I absolutely have not given up on him either. It just might not be the year that he can be inserted into this and become what he's supposed to be. And to clarify, I love the next level up mentality of athletes. I think you all have to have it. I think you need that private confidence. But I did have a huge issue with the way that he stated what he stated. Like, you keep that shit in the room, maybe with your coaches and stuff. You don't put that in the press and have it so everybody can hear it. So yeah, I know every AHL, ECHL, college kid even should say I have what it takes to get to the NHL. That's driving. I get that. But when you're going to come out and publicly state something like that and then clearly look not ready, you're not missing a beat once in a while. You're really just kind of getting to the new term I learned from Tim this year, dog walked, right? I don't know. I just don't think him being inserted into this lineup with this pressure this year is where he'd need to be in his development. It's kind of the same thing with last year, where he kind of came up and you by de facto, you're playing the whole year, right? And it wasn't a very good year. And then we seemingly solved our defensive issues only to see a bunch of defenders go down again. That being said, if he didn't come up at all this year, would it be a magic bullet for next year? Would he just pop on the scene and be what he's expected to be? I don't know, because the sample I'm seeing is confusing. I do know that I would not want to give up on him for sure. I'd want to get through the summer, see what happens, put him back into development next year and go from there.
And everybody keeps talking about this injury that he had in the Olympic qualifier. Like, that was in September. Like, come on. Like, that can't, you're a professional athlete. You can't let an injury that happened 7 months ago derail your entire year. Like,
because he looks healthy enough. I mean, doesn't look like an injury is holding him back.
No, and he was cooking in the AHL too. It's just so frustrating. I don't know if he's not grasping something, if he's just a mental midget, if he's playing himself out of the team on purpose, which would be a ridiculous thing to do. But we might see we might see the Cholowski experiment again on Thursday.
I mean, to me, I would rather see Casey, but I get you went and made a move. You brought Cholowski here. He's going to get the starts. I understand that. I'm just, that's a personal preference.
I agree. I'd much rather give Casey this time than. But I don't think Cholowski was an AHLer too. It's like, why the fuck are we giving this guy NHL time over one of our premier prospects?
I mean, I would be fine if I woke up tomorrow morning and heard that Nemec was sent down, Casey was brought up, and him and Kowalski, whatever the fuck his name is, are 7, 6, and 7D. Like, I'd have no problem with that. Mike Wazowski and Seamus Casey. But no, I get what you guys are saying, that you're not ready to give up on him. I get that. I don't think that management is going to give up on him, because if anything, even to the least amount of reason why, he was a number 2 pick, right? No GM is going to just jettison a number 2 pick because it makes you look really fucking bad that you are now getting rid of him. The Alex Holtz getting traded made Fitz look bad.
So I was going to say, we've already jettisoned the 7 picks,
right? So he's not going to, unless it is a Godfather offer and big things coming the other way. I think we are stuck with Nemec. Do I think he's ever going to be able to play in this league? I don't know. He's shown me nothing. Like, I mean, and last year, like, I was willing to. The whole defensive core was shit last year, so I wasn't going to pin it all on him. But when your defensive core has gotten as good as ours is, when you do have that super weak link, man, it fucking shows.
Well, but it's like really last year, he wasn't, he wasn't really a problem. Like, he showed maturity beyond his years last year and did a lot of, like, just these little tactical things that are just so advanced that guys his age shouldn't be doing, and he was doing them really well. You know, a lot of puck control stuff. He's fighting the puck, he's fighting the system, he's fighting everything. I don't know. I don't know. It's absolutely baffling. But to your point, like I think, you know, sending him down and bringing up Casey. You know, I don't know what Utica situation is right now, like if they're like fighting for a playoff spot, but you don't think they could use Nemec right now to kind of help solidify that?
I mean,
it sucks. It sucks that
not,
we're having this conversation about another first round pick.
You're never guaranteed a spot in the NHL. Like the NHL will let you know when you're not good enough to be here, and it will tell you, and it will kick you out unless you're Andre Palat. Then you just kind of get to ride through it. But like if you have to go down, you have to go down. That's it. Just go fix your shit. And if you're still there, and if you still have the prospect ability, then it should eventually come out. And if it doesn't, Alex Holtz is a perfect example of maybe just something between the ears. It's just it ain't working, kid. Like you were great up to that level. NHL is not for you.
And it may be time, you know, before he gets to the point where we're trading him for like, you know, a borderline third line, fourth line player like Cotter or something.
He still has a little equity.
Where he still has a little equity, still has a little value. Like, you know, Jirasek, who got traded last year, got a whole bunch of future. So he could still be the centerpiece of a forward trade this upcoming year, which I wouldn't object to at all.
I would bet that's coming this summer.
The NHL stands for not here long, Shimon. Take a hike.
The NHL is not a development league.
Exactly. So go to the developmental league and bring Seamus Casey up, a guy who has chemistry with the dudes on the bench. I don't know how Nemec's relationship is with the guys in the dressing room. I mean, I'm sure it's fine. But Nemec, I mean,
he got a pretty good when Keith mentioned his in one of his post game speeches.
Yeah, he got a big cheer.
He got a good pop in the locker room. So
and
that's just guys being supportive too.
Yeah,
I mean, I know he's going through
it. But you know, yes, he is going through it. But again, last year you were willing, especially by this time last year, you were willing to eat the mistakes. You weren't making the playoffs. You're like, yeah, okay, NHL is not a developmental league, but if we're not making the playoffs, you know, keep him up and he played for the most part. He was in a lot of really bad situations last year. The Devils were rarely on the front foot with a lead and, you know, a comfortable lead where they can kind of play a smart defensive minded style. He's never really kind of had that, I don't think. So now maybe that's what's holding him up. Maybe he's just not used to this system. But for whatever reason, I have no desire to see him in the lineup.
And like
again,
like you look at Luke, who has a clearly like an elite toolkit and has kind of a couple, has like a brain fart game every 10 games now. It used to be a brain fart game 4 out of 10 games. Now it's like 1 out of 10. Nemec, I saw some of that elite toolkit last year. Now I don't see any of it. I don't see anything at all. Like he's just playing scared. Like the goal that everybody shat on him against Pittsburgh, I don't really see it necessarily as 100% his fault. He probably could have done something differently, but it just like it was kind of a weak clearance attempt up the boards. Like it just, you know, what. Like
why? My problem wasn't the clear. My problem was after the puck was turned over, what he did. It was just not getting in front of the net, not trying to. He was just standing next to the guy that just hit him, and it wasn't even like moving his feet. Like that's the thing that got me. Like you just turned the puck over, try and do something. Whenever this is not the first time this year where like something bad has happened, and he just like stands in one spot and pissed off about it or whatever. Like I don't know.
Oh, that's fair.
Dwells on this shit.
That particular, you're correct about him kind of admiring his mistakes almost.
Yeah.
And admiring, you know, he kind of admires shit a little bit too much. That particular situation, it was kind of an awkward little mini 2-on-1 on him that there's not much you can do about it. But anyway, we can move on. We can talk about Timo's goal so I can bask in my glory.
Timo's a stud. Let's just start though. There's anything else about Nemec that we want to wrap up?
No, I think we kind of buried him enough.
Well, you guys like him.
Yeah.
And you know, look, as far as the Devils now, I mean, it's team's going to go as far as Timo and Bratt and Nico take them. Like I just think that's it. That's who we got to ride.
Yeah.
Before Tim basks in the glow of his only Timo prediction that he heats up in March.
Did you hear anybody else saying back in
never
like
heard this
December
before.
that Timo gets hot in March? Like only Tim. He was the only one. I mean, why did you not write an article about that or something?
I know. It's like I did, and nobody read it.
Timo is actually looking great. I just want to give props real quick to Jesper Bratt. Almost like not an apology. He doesn't deserve that because there was times where we needed him to step up and be the man, and he didn't. And it was for a lot of times. It was an entire playoff series. It was other times he was hurt. But he is the man right now. He is definitely stepping up, taking this opportunity. He's making me feel a lot better going to the playoffs, missing some of the players we are than I would have before. To see Jesper Bratt doing this is fantastic.
No, I 100% agree with you. And that's the thing about Bratt is I think watching him now over the course of the next 6-7 years, however long he's going to be on this team, I think you can generally expect him to be better every single year. Like, I mean, this guy, and like I said, we know this for a fact. His off seasons, all he does, mind, body, everything. How do I become a better hockey player, a better person? I've never seen anybody take this sport or anything as serious as Jesper Bratt takes being a hockey player. And yeah, he's a hockey fucking cyborg. And you're 100% right. Like, he knew that there were times like, all right, Jack's out. I have to be the guy. And you're right. He wasn't. This time he wasn't going to let that happen, man. I really don't. And I'm confident that this is Jesper Bratt now moving forward this year. I hope he gets 100 points.
So, like, honestly, at the rate he's going right now, he still kind of has an outside chance. I think he's definitely going to hit 90 at least, which is wild. So if I was talking about like a couple months ago, like mid-January, when everybody was slumping, he wasn't really kind of popping on the score sheet. I think he misses that empty net. I think he hits the post. If he gets that opportunity in January, I think he hits the post or misses the net. But last night he's just feeling like that's a tough angle. Puck was on its edge. Like he didn't like catch it and handle it.
I'm with Bob. Like, I didn't know it went in at first. I was oh shit, we did score. Great.
Yeah, I still disagree about how we played in the playoffs 2 years ago, but whatever. I think
maybe two empty netters really would have done it. Like, is that where? Like,
no, because we played 7 of the 12 games against one of the best goalies in the league. 2 of those 7 games we got absolutely fucking pummeled as a team.
Arguably, definitely a small sample size. We all know that. We're not going to tear apart a player for one. It was really one playoff series because, as far as I was concerned, Carolina just mopped the floor with us. But it was that in conjunction with other times in his career where it was like step up time and he didn't. That's what got us saying this in years past. And even this year, we didn't say it that often. Even throughout this year, once in a while, we'd be like, I'd really like to see him step up. But it's not like we were vilifying him, which we had kind of done a year or two before. We had.
After the playoffs,
he has to be much better.
After the playoffs, I was ready to trade him. I didn't care. I was like, we got to move on.
He was your BFF for a couple weeks in the summer.
He's a really, really nice guy. He really is just a super person.
You're like, hey, don't listen to this episode of my podcast.
I don't think we need to worry about that.
I never even told him this podcast exists.
Good. Oh yeah, that's the last thing we need is for these guys to find out we exist.
It's just it's just like the 12 of us. It's just our little secret. Like you all know who you are, but that's it.
Anyway, moving on from that. So yeah, it's good to see these guys. I like the chemistry that Bratt and Glass have, and I touched on it a little bit in my recap.
Another guy
is everyone that Bratt's played with like over his career, and I just kind of cherry picked a few names from really kind of when he started popping off, when he put up that first 70-point season. Nico, Timo, Sharon Govich, Jack, even Toffoli to an extent, Taylor Hall. Like, I wouldn't put Taylor Hall because Taylor Hall was before Bratt really started popping off. But when Bratt started popping off, you look at like his metrics with and without those players, every single one of them to a man is better when they're with Bratt than they are without Bratt. It's a pretty fascinating thing. And one of the things like Bratt, I think Jack is very hard to play with. I think Bratt is very easy to play with. I think he's very adaptable and like in the hockey cyborg sense, like he's He's very smart about where he's supposed to be, and Bryce was talking about that in terms of his positioning on that empty netter.
Yeah.
That's the end of my story.
No, it's a perfect example when he brought up the difference between kind of him and Jack. When I was thinking of Brat and why he would be someone who's easy to play with in way because he's so shifty and he gets in there and he's so untouchable in the zone. And then just have to look at this year's assists to know it's obvious he knows how to get the puck to the open man. So yeah, you could see how playing with him he makes you better, you know, because he finds you and he's one of those untouchable guys. When he's in the zone dancing around, it's very much like Jack in that way, where he could just kind of dart through people.
Yeah, like sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, I was just going to say, like, next year when Jack is healthy again, like, I would seriously consider, you know, keeping Brat and Glass together, like whether or not Hughes is on that line, you know, whatever. But like Cody Glass is very, very smart and feeds exactly like these guys play super well together. And it started like the first game, and you saw just two really smart hockey players, and you put two really smart, good hockey players together, they're going to find ways to do good things. And I just think Cody Glass, that could be a perfect fit, not for the Devils, for just for Brat to keep him going without Jack. Like that, I think Glass has a lot to do with that.
I mean, he's even like Holla's even a brand new fucking guy. Like it's wild. Like
we fucking missed him in the Pittsburgh game. I'm sorry. Like I'm in the third period. I'm like, I can't believe this shit. But Holla should have been in the fucking lineup. We maybe would have had a shot.
I think Daniel Sprong is turning out to be kind of a dud.
Daniel wrong. Sorry.
That's just such a bad joke.
Well, it's not like they're swinging for the fences. You know,
exactly.
Got him, give him a try.
And not to
Glass
get too
is looking really good. Glass is one of those situations where you could take, a very good, solid, but otherwise maybe slightly above average hockey player, and gel him with somebody else, and then you can start having career performances. Like you don't have to be like what you're not if you're paired with the right people, which is why so many of us, myself included, are always like with the line combinations. For me, it's more about kind of the two-person team than the three. And we talk about Sikora all the time. Like nothing against Sikora. Like I love Sikora as a hockey player. He was a great hockey player, but he was a benefactor of the third person on that line. There's just no doubt about it.
Arnott and Eliashtra of that line. Yeah. And I mean, I like that.
Even Marty McSorley is like, you guys know I played with Curry and Gretzky too.
Yeah, right.
He's like, no, shut up, asshole.
Yeah. So we're gonna staple McDermott to Jack's wing next year. And not to get too ahead of ourselves, but I like that Timo, Nico, Nason line. I think that should kind of stick around. And we leave.
Nason to wake up. Oh, he needs to start scoring some goals.
He got taken off first power play for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's right.
They swapped him and Mercer. I have no fucking idea why. No idea why. But Mercer doesn't. Right? Mercer doesn't deserve that. What are we doing here?
Bobby?
That's like chicken and the egg situation. Maybe he went a little cold, so then they make a change, and then he's not there anymore, and now he's not scoring anywhere, so they don't want to put him back. I would just put him back.
But that has nothing. It's nothing like the chicken and egg situation.
What are you talking about? Which came first?
Chicken and egg came first. Which came first? You said it's like.
Did he go cold 5-on-5 and they took him off, or did he take him off and then he went cold?
Right.
Oh, I say that's what you're doing. Okay,
yeah, dude.
So it's exactly like the chicken and the egg. Okay,
that's what they said.
Well, yeah, it was actually a pretty solid analogy, Chris.
I just misheard him. I mean, I wasn't listening.
Literally, the playoffs started tomorrow. That's a change I make. Nason, you're back on power play one.
Maybe it's sort of philosophically the second power play is more like let's just hammer the puck towards the net, and Nason sitting net front has our best net front hands. I don't know. I really don't know. But Mercer's worthless.
And I have one complaint about a power play, and then we can move on to a devil you know. Do we have a devil we know?
I do.
Oh, awesome. Ooh. So this is just a gripe, and it's probably unwarranted, and not you guys are probably not going to agree with it, but I really want to see Luke Hughes start doing more on this fucking power play. He needs to stop with the fucking back pass, letting them take it in yourself, dude. Out of all those guys on that unit, you're the best skater. Maybe you and Brad, but you're right there as one of the best skaters and puck handlers. Bring the puck in, man. Start causing some issues down there, and I want to see him generate the offense. And then just on the rush, you get some help. You can go back to your point, and you can quarterback it. But I just want to see him on the rush, just that one time, start taking it in more.
It's funny you mentioned that because I wanted to bring this up earlier when Tim kind of explained that slingshot, whatever you call it, right? Zone entry. And I've noticed anyway, maybe I'm wrong, that slingshot has gotten a lot longer.
Yeah.
Like the last
little
while.
Luke's
Luke's
really bad at it and telegraphs it.
Yeah.
And what game was it where he basically just handed it to someone on the other team? Because for some reason, he turns around and throws it on his forehand. Like when Dougie was doing it, and Luke's doing that at like the red line or the offensive blue line.
Yeah.
Like Dougie's doing it at our blue line. So basically the philosophy is that, so here's Luke, right? And he passed it back. And it's slingshot. He passed it back, and then these guys slingshot over him.
Right.
And then Luke's at the point, and these guys are in. It kind of theoretically saves 15 seconds of like setting up in zone, supposedly. But Luke's just so bad at it. He's so bad at
like
it.
dropping it to Allen.
But to your point, to Chris, like I want to see him fake it or just blow through the entire fucking team.
Exactly.
It's almost like he has instructions where he's not allowed to because he almost forgets about it at the offensive blue line. He's like through the whole team, offensive blue line. Then he turns around. He did it once when he was in the zone already.
100% right.
Out of the zone. It's like, what are you doing, man?
Like he's like stopping, like, oh shit, I'm supposed to drop this back.
Yeah,
and
he's so
like you can do. You have all the tools, man. Go fucking do it. And like I said, you just one rush. That's it. You jump back and quarterback the fucking thing. We don't need you up there the whole time, but just to get the ozone pressure started, the ozone entry. Jack's not on the team. As far as I think Luke is the second best on this team at entries. Why is he not doing it?
I don't know.
All right. Got a devil, now?
I do. Hopefully you guys haven't done him before, but
we'll see.
Shall we play a game?
Buckle up, boys and girls. It is time for the Devil You Know on the Uncle Pucker New Jersey Devil Podcast.
There are a few things that will always make me happy.
That
gasser at the end of that will always make me happy.
I still can't get over that it's a real fart.
Sometimes I just listen
on a real podcast.
Sometimes I just listen to it, like the end, that whole intro, like without doing the podcast. I have it on my phone, and I'll just put your little video on, just so I can watch the fart. It's the best. All right, so
we're giggling like a couple of little kids. Love it.
Farts are always fun.
All right.
They always will be. This is the Devil You Know, the game that shows just how unbelievably fucking brilliant we all are as far as the Devils and their former players. Tonight, Tim will give us clues to a former New Jersey Devil player. Only rule is that they can no longer be playing. Myself and Bobby get the guess. We get 3 incorrect guesses before we are eliminated. And that's about it. We can ask Tim any question we want. He can or cannot answer. It's totally up to him. And that's it, Timmy. Take it over.
All right. So this former Devil, he was born in 1964 in Providence, Rhode Island, growing up in nearby Warwick, Rhode Island. This former Devil was drafted in the 5th round by the New Jersey Devils.
Can't be, can it?
I'm already thinking that too. I'm not going there yet.
He had a 14-year career for 4 different teams, including the Devils, San Jose, the Islanders, and the Chicago Blackhawks. While he was at Providence College.
Wait. Isles, Blackhawks, Devils.
San Jose, and the Devils.
San Jose, got it.
While at Providence College, he was the MVP of the 1985 Hockey East postseason, the NCAA Tournament Most Outstanding Player, and the 84-85 Hockey East Player of the Year.
What year was he drafted?
I didn't say.
Oh, okay.
There's only a couple guys I know with that Providence connection because I went to school in Providence.
Oh, that's fuck. I forgot about that shit.
But I'm not guessing yet. I didn't go to school at Providence College. But,
all right, so he debuted with the Devils after that in 1986-87 and played 7 games that year. Throughout his Devils career, he played 302 games and had 7 assists. He also had 3 different stints with the team, including 2 of our cups. In his career, through those 4 teams, he had 406 games played and had 13 assists and 0 goals. In 1990-1991, he finished 13th in Lady Byng trophy voting.
Sean Chambers?
No. He was a coach in the Devils system before getting relieved of his duties in July 2017.
Tommy Allen.
This goaltender
Yes,
is
Chris Terreri.
5'9". Yeah,
Chris Terreri.
Terreri.
The assists
Yeah,
were
no,
throwing me
Chris
off,
Terreri.
dude. I had no idea the guy had
I
that
know.
many
I did
freaking
that.
Exactly.
I did that on
And-
purpose.
I had this at
Three
like
different
question
stints.
5, and I'm like, wait a minute, points. What the hell is he talking
Wait,
about?
3 different stints?
Yeah, he was drafted by the Devils, and he was traded to San Jose. Then he went back, and then was traded, I think, from back to Chicago or the Islanders, and then back to the Devils. So Lou brought him back 3 times
I
because
didn't know
Lou
that he was 3 times.
Lou was
That's
the AD at Providence College.
Yeah, that's what threw me off. I'm like, Terreri wasn't 3, and I couldn't think anybody else.
Excellent way to
Yeah.
disguise the player with your questions. That's exactly what we try to do when we do
That's
this. 'Cause you were
perfect.
definitely leading us on a.
We-
I was really sorry.
I was wondering.
I had
You're like, this-
defenseman in my head. I'm like,
Yeah.
Well, and so my next one was this goaltender stood 5'9" and weighed 155.
there you go.
And
Then
the
during the
thing with Providence
1995
College connection is obviously we know Lou was there, and I know there have been other players that ran
Right.
through there, but being born in Rhode Island was kind of like, all right, this is narrowing it down.
Yeah.
But
Well,
damn, that was
Bobby,
good.
you are the clue giver for the next week's
Good
Devil
job,
You Know.
Bob.
And all right, so anything else you guys want to add? You want to do? I mean, we're going to do another show probably before the Calgary game, so on Thursday. So I
Yeah, let's
figure
see if we
So
get any AHL transactions.
we can do our predictions. Yeah, if anything happens, of course, like Seamus Casey rejoining the team, we'll definitely be talking about that.
Well,
Anything else you want to share
Now
about
that,
it?
now that the sun went down, I kind of look like sprockets.
No, yeah, it look a little bit like a hostage video. A little. It's very dark behind you.
Please save me. No, we don't.
Maryland Farm. Just a PSA to be up on your rules when you have kids in various sports. So, for example, my kid is in 10U hockey, right? 1 game away from the finals. If they beat the puking goalie that destroyed him the last game, right? I could have looked this up, but I didn't. I watched a whole season of them killing penalties, and I'm just sitting there constantly saying, "Why are they just firing it down the fucking ice?" Like,
No
stop.
icing, right?
No icing, right?
Even when you're on a penalty in this level, you can't ice the puck either way. I don't know this. Thank God I'm not like the shout from the stands.
Right.
You can't embarrass yourself like that.
When you're in trouble, this is the first thing I know. You just throw that puck out of the zone. Like,
Yeah.
learn why no one's doing it. They're constantly skating it out of the zone or just doing these little dumps. I got to read the rules. They're not allowed to do that. So
I gotta take off because I'm about to hopefully take a little dump. So we're gonna wrap this thing up.
Got a turtle head poking out here.
What did my son say the other day? Oh God, I can't even remember it right now. But it was some stupid metaphor for taking a shit, and I was cracking up. He's like, "You never heard that before?" I was like, "No, I never fucking heard that." I can't remember what it is, but I gotta let you know as soon as I remember. All right, we are going to get out of here wherever you're listening to us, and like a 5-star review, a positive comment. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, subscribe, and whatever other buttons you can press there. We really appreciate it. We're the Uncle Puckers. For Bobby and Tim, I'm Chris.
Hang on, I want to check one quick thing.
And hang on, we're not leaving yet. What are we checking, Tim?
Validate, your fucking loser ass team is tied with the Flames. You guys fucking suck. Nobody likes it.
What's the score?
1-1.
All right, let's go Flames.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!
It's over.